Drive a truck to a place, and when you get there, it's another place. Everybody drive a truck. Everybody drive a truck to a place.
Welcome to Trucks.
Welcome to Trucks, everybody. My name is Isaac.
My name is Josh.
And we two are people who talk about pretty much anything while driving a pretend truck across America and occasionally Europe. That's the brief.
That's it. There you go. Goodbye.
Yep. So this is an Intro to Trucks video in which we're going to try to convey why we're doing this, both to you and to each other.
Mm-hmm. And to our existing listeners.
Yes, who may be unclear on the concept.
But we're assuming you're new here.
Yeah, so, again, my name is Isaac.
My name is Josh. I promise you'll learn to tell our voices apart. We don't actually sound that similar.
As far as, biographical details that'll help you get inside our heads, we are opinionated and care about art. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what we bring to the table. Most of the rest of the things about us are irrelevant to this discussion.
Trucks has been described by a friend of ours as, what was it? An oblique take on the two white guys talking about culture genre of podcast. And I hope he's right about that.
Yeah, we're a deconstruction of that.
Yes, sometimes intentionally.
Oh, you don't have to intentionally deconstruct anything to be a deconstruction of something.
It's true.
As long as you're slightly different than what is expected, you're technically
as long as you're poorly constructed in the first place, it's almost like you're deconstructed.
Exactly. To that end, we tend not to do any prep. We tend sometimes not even to decide what we're going to talk about before we start.
Yep.
This project was conceived as something of a sort of an organic artistic happening. And there have been occasional attempts to make it more of a structured quality piece of work, which I think we're currently in one of those spasms right now. I think Josh has ambitions to make this more of a considered piece of equipment.
At least make it consistently okay. Last season bothered me when we were releasing it every week, even when we were way out of the correct vibe. And if Trucks has ever been artistically interesting, maybe when we were both going a bit insane because Trump just got elected was when that happened. But for me it was unpleasant, and I don't like going back to those episodes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I guess trying to correct that, not necessarily trying to make it any more high effort than it needs to be, but definitely just want to make sure what we put out is quality material.
Sure. So part of the underlying tension that makes Trucks interesting is a disagreement about what makes Trucks interesting between the two people who make trucks.
Yeah, what do you think makes Trucks interesting?
I think it's the least considered, the most improvised, and the most atmospheric stuff, which is why I like the background music, the glitches, the problems, the fact that occasionally the truck crashes and that derails us both in the game and in the conversation. I like it as sort of stochastic happening, but that does preclude growth. I also prefer it when we are unguarded, and little bits of humiliating personal information or preferences slip through, but Josh doesn't like it when that happens. And
I don't hate it. I think I agree with this take on Trucks more than you think.
Okay. I also like moments of conflict between us, which I think some of our audience likes more than others, but I like it when it gets a little bit spicy.
You premeditate those far more often than I do.
Oh, so?
Maybe part of my issue with that.
You think I plan this? I don't plan
Sometimes.
this. This just comes out.
I don't know, man. Last time we attempted this very Trucks, you said it was wheels within wheels.
Well, I mean, that's part of it being a deconstruction. I'm always down to claim intentionality when none exists, both when I'm evaluating other people's art and when I'm evaluating my own.
Yeah. Well, fundamentally, Trex is the object that Trex wants Trex to be. We don't get to make all the decisions.
Yeah, great art is achieved through constraint, and the sheer amount of constraint that we have to fight our way through to get one of these motherfuckers up on the internet.
It ensures that it'll be great art.
Exactly. Because we are Dogma 99 and not by choice.
What is it that we like to talk about?
We like to talk about video games, Josh.
We definitely like to talk about video games. Video games which we consider to be art. We're two of those guys for sure.
Definitely. Josh's video games are closer to Josh's heart than they are to mine. But we both care about video games, I would say. Mm-hmm. I care about cartoons more than Josh cares about cartoons. But
we both care about cartoons.
But we both care about cartoons. We both care about music, but we don't talk about music as much because it's difficult to talk about music in the sort of dancing about architecture kind of a thing.
Some of my favorite episodes are the ones where we did manage to get some good thoughts out about music. But few and far between. They're often our least viewed episodes, the ones where we declare up front this one's about music.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we pretend to care about that kind of metric.
Yeah.
Because that's another constraint.
Yeah. My other favorite episodes are the ones where we talk shit on bad TV.
Oh, yeah. If you want to go and check out a Trex, the one where we make fun of Stranger Things mercilessly is probably a good one to go and see. I'm ready to demolish the latest Wes Anderson movie based purely on the trailer. Personally, which I find deeply distressing.
I've heard a lot about it being pretty bad.
I haven't seen it. It could secretly be good. It's not. But it could secretly be good, but it's not.
It probably is.
So yeah, we have the position as people who don't create successful art, or by society's definition of success, to be pretty much unfettered in our rudeness toward people who do, and I think that's part of the pleasure of this experience as well. We also are not in the same room anymore, and we are still learning not to talk over each other.
It's very difficult. We get some, you straight up blanked out for a good 4 seconds earlier while we were recording this very episode, and I pretended it didn't happen.
Good. You don't really need to understand what I'm saying to to maintain the Trex experience. When I hit a certain gear, you might as well just sort of let it go. Exactly. But that also is going to continue to inform the vibe. Someday Josh and I will be in the same room together again, and we'll bank a bunch of trucks.
Oh,
when that happens,
just
stick them all in the can.
You'll be able to tell because they will be rushed.
Exactly, and
a return
not
to the classic
topical.
Paradigm. Yeah. We should only talk about recent news when we do that. So that there's 7 episodes of us talking about increasingly old news.
Yeah, sort of a time capsule, a disintegration loops of trucks.
Am I taking this turn? Yes, I am.
Whoops.
Let's
reverse on the interstate, Josh.
Something we haven't mentioned is that we play this video game called Trex. It's not actually called Trex.
It's not called Trex. Neither was this podcast at one point. And this wasn't a podcast either at one point. It's all very confusing.
We mostly only address the video games when mistakes happen.
Like that one.
But,
so for audio listeners, we'll describe in loving detail every time there's a fuck up.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the central questions, is whether Trex is a video program or whether it's a podcast. It's both. It's a video podcast. My personal opinion is that the video product is better.
Yeah, and you should be watching this on YouTube. But that's sort of that's the primal thing about Trex. Is it fish or fowl? Is it populist or obscurantist? Is it Isaac or is it Josh?
Is it good or is it bad?
I mean, neither of us are really able to answer that question to our own satisfaction. It's good enough that we've developed a small but loyal following of some of the finest people who I've ever met on the internet. And we're pretty much content with that. But in order to maintain that, we have to keep doing the trucks, and so we have to keep finding ways to make the trucks interesting for both of us, particularly the guy who has to edit them, which isn't me. And so we're, every once in a while, we check in. We describe the trucks. We try to examine the state of the trucks. We decide whether we want trucks to be more of a sort of audiovisual hallucination or a series of online essays. And we proceed from there.
We're leaning toward the hallucinations. I keep going back and forth on whether or not we should have this music. You're currently hearing the Classics Trucks soundscape.
There may
I don't
be,
know, man.
There may be music. You know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We
It's
got
hard
the
to know.
Nobi boy. We got the Nobis going
Oh,
right now.
fuck, there's Nobis right now? I feel so much better. You have no idea how much that silence is bugging me, man.
Like, I think it's the kind of thing where people who aren't already in the fold show up and go, why is there music on your podcast series? That's not how you do it.
We don't care about those people, and we don't care about doing it right either, do we? I mean, that's the thing that's been confusing me from day one.
It's a thing I'm sympathetic to, is why it concerns me. Like, if we just happen to play some music that a person can't stomach, then that's someone who's going to bounce off whatever we have to say.
That's true. Who couldn't stomach the Nobi Boy soundtrack? What kind of monster couldn't enjoy that?
Some asshole once described it as elevator music, which...
Oh! Well, we don't want that guy in here, do we?
No, we don't.
This is our barrier to entry, whether you can enjoy Nobi Boy or not. Really, actually, in many senses. If you're not going to get at least something out of the game Nobi Boy, then Trucks probably isn't for you.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, like, it's one of those things. I feel like the music and the occasional soundscapes that appear from out my window work better if you're watching this as a video and are just bizarre if you're listening to this on iTunes. But as a person who thinks the video is the better thing, I probably shouldn't be making compromises in favor of the podcast experience, is what kind of brought me around to let's just bring the fucking music back.
The iTunes experience is there for people who are already familiar with trucks but want to take it on the go.
Yeah.
Listen to it while they're, out and about, driving around, maybe trucking themselves. So they get the visual component along with the audio component.
Yeah. Sorry if any car horns from outside my window confuse you if you're trying to drive while listening to trucks. Sorry if we cause a traffic accident.
I mean, we are sorry if we cause a traffic accident, but, kind of oddly proud also. We like...
Art has consequences.
Yeah, we like to pretend that we have some effect on the world. And by we, I mean human beings. So, yeah, that's trucks. Is that a relatively fair portrait of trucks, Josh?
That's the skinny of it, yeah.
Do you have some other trucks aspects that you want to discuss?
I think this might be an opportunity to get into the video game a little bit, to discuss what this video game does or does not add, because to us this is just completely in the background, right? We barely think about this anymore. But the fundamental choice here is that we're talking while we're playing this video game. And what has that grown to mean over the years? I think it's a very good video game. We talked about this way back in Trucks Episode 1, but my appreciation for this video game has only deepened. Something like, I play a lot of PUBG, right? And something that's good about PUBG is the quiet sense of danger. And in a way, this game, not in as tense a way, but it shares that. Driving is the most dangerous thing people do on a regular basis. And
That's true. And trucks is extra dangerous driving.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to be like driving down a 2-lane road, like with where the other lane is going the other direction while I did this spiel, so I could go like, and we have bracing imagery available to us at any time, and just like swerve into their lane and plow some guy. But we don't have that available right now.
We were not able to plow some guy for art, unfortunately. That's part of the consequences
and destruction.
Not really planning anything out. But yeah, no, it does capture that intersection of serenity and peril that a lot of good video games have.
Yeah. Like
being immersed in a really pleasant aesthetic environment, which is also incredibly frustrating or stressful.
Yeah.
That's like core video game tactility to me.
Yeah. So I really like the game on its own terms. But also, like, really all it's added to this as a podcast, besides some visuals, which are at times pleasing and at times, funny, is like just one more vector along which we can screw up.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. It makes the whole thing even more of a tightrope walk, even more error prone. I should point out though that it also does us the service of giving every episode of this podcast, even the most shapeless episode of this podcast, a shape.
Yep, that's true.
In that we start from one place and end up in another place, bring the cargo there, and then you park, which is in a very real way the emotional catharsis of the episode.
And I've managed to not skip the parking for quite a few times. By
yeah,
the way,
maybe I think season 3 is the season where you never skip the parking, Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that off the table. I'm gonna have to not let myself do that.
Yep.
I'm capable of it now. I can do it. I can park the truck. Sometimes
after 3 years of constant practice, Josh can now park the truck.
I think it was episode 1 where it took me like 10 minutes to do it, but you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
I just cut some guy off really brutally.
That's fine. He's not real. And that sort of highlights the tenuous nature of trucks-based reality, because it is at once some of the most real times that we have with each other, and also a absolutely artificial environment. Because
and we're trying to do it right, even though we're giving ourselves every opportunity to fuck it up.
Exactly, and we're trying to have real discussions in an environment where there is pressure to have constructed discussions. It's so many dyads, man, so many tensions. Trucks is art, after all. I've decided. I've talked myself into it.
I'm glad. I like for trucks to be art, even if it's pretty casually made art. I've thought sometimes that maybe the ideal form of art, maybe the ideal form for trucks to take is after we finally finished recording it forever, to just take every episode, kind of edit them into a point by point, like every different point is its own thing, and then shuffle them all together. So you just have a constant, unbroken, but like...
That's a gallery installation is what that is.
A schizophrenic.
That is like 3 days of gallery installation.
Yeah. We probably have quite a lot of this material. I would say right now, we just hit our 100th episode not too long ago. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's like about 100 hours. That is a 3-day fucking...
More like 60 or 70 hours, but yeah.
Yeah. Still, that is multiple days.
It is. I think that you're onto something. I think that maybe it's time to start putting together an artist statement. See who we can sell this to, having made it. The other thing that we always used to say is that, trucks is art, that it's incredibly low effort art. But the new development, the surprising and exciting new development in season 3 is that it's actually really hard to get this together now. We've added so many more layers of complication from having to get together us on both sides of the country, get together all of the relevant media streams, and after being frazzled about getting everything working, trying to find the truck's flow. So in a real way, it's way more of a tightrope walk than it ever was. And if effort is what counts as art, which is, I think, an argument that I've made on this Trucks cast at some point, that art is labor, and you know art by whether it's labor or not. Now it is. We've made it. We've arrived.
Is trucks jazz?
No. I've never been involved in jazz, and I never will be.
But what if trucks is jazz? Then you
God
have
damn
been.
it. I'd have to reevaluate like some very basic ideas I have about myself. If it turns out that trucks is jazz.
It's about giving ourselves opportunity for mistakes. It's about recovering from those mistakes and making those mistakes the point. That's one way of looking at jazz.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just... again, and this happens over and over to me in my life. Again, the kind of art that I make is nowhere close to the kind of art that I like to consume.
I feel like that's the way for a lot of artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Jazz. We're a pair of soloists trying to be a duo.
I learned recently that one painter, what was his name? God damn it. This painter who did these like kind of hyper-real murals of natural scenes. I'll put his name on the screen because I can find it again. It's a famous, well-known painter. He hates nature. He doesn't care for nature, and yet all he paints are these natural scenes.
Did he explain why he paints these natural scenes if he hates nature? Also, who hates nature who isn't Werner Herzog?
Okay, maybe putting hates nature is putting it too strongly, but yeah, I heard this secondhand from an artist who was inspired by this guy.
Okay.
But I found that very intriguing, because like his paintings aren't like just this looks like nature. They're the ones where everything looks a little plastic and the colors aren't quite right, and
so it's a vicious parody of nature.
I guess so.
He's so angry at trees. He has to be like, oh, look at you. Look at how pretty you are. This is you. This is what you are. You're garish.
Yeah.
You're garish and lame. You're a cliche.
In that vein,
in Man vs. Nature, Man vs. Nature, I've never considered like savage critique to be part of man's arsenal against the natural world.
If God is real, this is a place He's made in anger, and all that.
Yeah,
but in that vein, Isaac doesn't like jazz. I don't listen to podcasts, so we, in a way, are painter's name here.
Yeah, we are that reference, which would have been a good reference if we could have actually pulled off the reference.
The power of editing is going to give us the means to pull off that reference.
And the power of jazz makes that mistake meaningful. It's all about the notes that we don't play or the names we can't remember.
Culture is like America. No matter how many times you drive across it, it's still too big.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a fine tagline.
My goddamn phone is ringing.
Well,
Hold on.
That's part of the ambiance. Wait a minute, hold
Who's
on.
calling me? Oh, it's a spam call.
Okay, good. We can
Let me make it
safely ignore
stop
that.
ringing. Goodbye. I'm drifting into the wrong lane.
Another downside to doing trucks on the other side of the country from you rather than drink, drive, lose is that the amount of time we have left in trucks is too low res for me to see, which means
I could probably stream it to you in a higher resolution.
I don't know if we can do that and be audible to each other.
That's true.
Therefore, the usual sort of calculations I make when I'm constructing this conversation on the fly as to how much longer I have to sustain a given topic, I've lost that information. And so I'm truly flying blind.
Interesting. We should find a way to get that information back to you.
Maybe this just amplifies the jazz factor a little bit.
Right now we've got 1 hour and 17 minutes virtual time.
Cool.
So not much time left at all. I am, however, running out of fuel.
Sweet. Trucks is drawing to a close, but slowly and with more problems afoot before we can get there. So
anything else we should bring up?
Well, what?
Here's a point that's worth raising.
All right.
Isaac and I, we're not the funniest.
Oh yeah, no. This is not a humor podcast. I'd say that it rises to wit occasionally, like that bromide about culture being too big earlier.
Yeah.
That's that's the kind of joke we tend to make. Real thinkers,
Isaac and I find each other very entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully that's infectious.
Hopefully that comes across. The fact that Josh and I like each other and really enjoy what comes out of each other's mouths. I mean, surely we're not the only ones, right?
No, we know we're not. Because Trucks is a community now.
Exactly. No,
and you can join that community.
You can. Use a link to the Discord.
It's down there.
You can play Quiplash with us. And,
you can.
And PUBG.
We'll make fun of your jokes.
And post Garfields. And
possums.
Yeah, there's over a year's worth of in-jokes to exhume now.
Ain't it crazy?
But we try to be as inclusive as possible, and it's a fine mix of troubled teens and Dark Souls critics. Really, one thing we haven't gotten into is our demographics. You and I have distinct audiences.
Yes, definitely.
Noticeably distinct audiences, and
we meet in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're doing a service to the world, bringing the crazy people who like me together with the intellectuals who like you.
There are plenty of intellectuals who like you and crazy people who like me.
I know it's not nearly as much of a stark divide as I'm making it out to be.
God, I'm gonna run out of gas for real though.
Can you coast all the way into town? You've done that occasionally. It really adds a certain
It's huge when that
accidental
happens.
high drama to the end of the
I think this
trucks.
might have been one of the very roads where that happened, actually.
Yeah, you
This
got
is
a
a
little
very
downhill
cooperative
grade.
road. But I do kind of-
Let's ride it out. Let's ride it out. See what you can do.
I might not even run out of gas. We'll see. We got 18 minutes left. I've still got a pixel of yellow left on that fuel gauge.
Okay.
Let's
just go around
overtake
this
this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, buddy. I'm out of gas. Honk. Wow, my horn does not sound like a truck horn at all. You guys can't hear it, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Completely
anymore.
inaudible truck horn. Already too late.
Maybe I'll edit a truck's horn in.
A classic awooga or the the air horn with the gesture.
I remain a little bummed that we can't get the game sound in this very easily, even though it's not very good game sound.
Well,
Being able to
eventually-
honk at people.
We'll eventually figure it out how to cross all
Yeah.
of the streams, dot all the I's and cross the T's.
Excuse me, everybody.
This is great stuff. Oh shit.
I was going a little too fast, but that's fine. Fast in,
That's
slow out.
fine.
That's how you do it, right?
Exactly. You're a born trucker, and now you're gonna park.
Should I fuel up before attempting to park?
No. Attempt to park, run out of gas, have to be towed to the next town over, drive back to this town, and finish the game. That's a way more authentic trucks experience to offer people on this, our introductory episode, like 3 years into the project, which we're doing for some reason.
We're doing it because we're on a new channel and we have the opportunity to put a channel trailer out.
That's true. Oh, right. That's right. It's structural. Again, we're informed by
There's a real
structural
reason-
demands.
Okay. That's an easy one.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a shame, really, all things considered. Could you fuck it up a little bit for old time's sake? Actually, maybe not. You may be unable to fuck it up.
I
at
can
this
be
point.
pissed off about the fact that that doesn't count.
Oh,
Does
yeah, no, that counts. That's a classic thing to do. So continue to wiggle, like, in a sort of hilarious fashion. Josh is right next to the parking space and is now attempting to get right into the parking space.
I'm gonna have to pull back a little more.
Yeah. I guess the last thing that we haven't addressed in this introductory video is why trucks? How do we, the two of us, feel about trucks specifically?
My strongest memory around trucks prior to this was the night Obama won. There was an impromptu parade of trucks down just some random avenue where I lived in New York City. And I think because of that, trucks to me have always represented unbridled joy.
That's excellent. I'm not sure that I'm sure I've heard that before, but I'm not sure that I brought that to consciousness. And when I think of trucks, I think of driving enormous distances in the middle of the night, which is a thing that I actually enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And the fact that the only people who I'm generally sharing the roads with when I do that are trucks who've made that into a life. And I'd like to consider little bits and pieces of things that I love being made into my life and how I have never successfully been able to do that. So that's my trucks association.
So we're synthesizing that melancholy solitude and that joyful...
Togetherness.
Yes. That's trucks. That's what
Perfect.
trucks really is.
We made
And
it
it's
this
hard.
time.
All right, great.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Good.
Thanks for
Stop
listening.
before
Join the
anything
Discord.
happens.
Be a truck boy, truck girl. Be a trucko. We love
Be a
you.
trucko. Bye-bye.